Due to size of everything and the fact that it's placed downstairs in the living room, I'm going to be relying on B-roll for this video, so bear with me. Hey guys, my attempt to create a cinema inside of my living room continues. I've picked a projector that works pretty well, and as it happens, the same brand. It is Ultimea C40 Nova, and the company has sent me a matching 7.1 Atmos Dolby surround sound system to actually match the picture with a pretty cinematic sound. So it was really hard to say no to that, so I received the parcel, I covered it in a tech drop, and I've connected everything downstairs and started testing it. So whether you should be interested or not, well, that's the question I'm going to answer now. But first, let's talk about what's inside the box. I don't know if you share the same sentiment, but it's always really hard to tell the size of actual speakers you're going to receive based on the product pictures, or actually the box. But once the box turned up at my doorstep, I was quite impressed with the size of it. Looking inside the soundbar, I would say this is a kind of like a half sound of the regular soundbar, I would imagine. But what took the bulk of the storage inside of the box was the actual subwoofer. All that was accompanied by 4 satellite speakers, and that creates your 7.1 surround system that you're going to be connecting inside of your living room. But as I never connected 7.1 surround sound system before, I was wondering how many cables will I have to drag around the room and whether it's going to be a messy situation or not. Let's face it, surround sound is often hindered by cables and speakers everywhere, so having this done cleverly was probably a part of my worry. Turns out that Ultimea Poseidon D80 Boom, because that's what this package is being called, that's a mouthful actually, has things relatively sorted. Well, the entire package is split into 2 sets of speakers. At front, you'll have your soundbar connected to left and front satellite speakers, and that's one package. Second one relies on the connection to the subwoofer, so you have a subwoofer connected to the mains and then 2 satellite speakers connected at the back. So in terms of cable management, it's relatively simple. And as it happened, my room has sockets at the front, sockets at the back, so installation literally took a couple of seconds. While satellite speakers and the soundbar have feet, so you can just simply plunk it on the piece of furniture, like I did on the windowsill next to the sofa, they also come with brackets that allow them to be wall mounted. So if you want to do it properly, you have an option to do it. Now the cables supplied are 3 meters in the front and 6 meters at the back, leaving you plenty to spare, so you shouldn't really worry about it. Now that everything is deployed, let's talk about I/O at the back. It's located at the back of the soundbar, and you'll find most of the things that you come to expect from it. You'll have 3.5mm jack for old-fashioned stereo. You have a Toslink if you fancy optical sound. There is a HDMI in with the eARC support, so you can route your video feed through the speaker and still get it out to the TV for a nice sound. And USB if you fancy playing some tunes from the subwoofer itself. Now apart from that, it also has Bluetooth 5.3, which is there if you want to use it. It's not the most rich I/O in terms of connectivity, but it will get you there and has the most popular format, so I am not complaining, especially that if you own the TV, you are likely to be using HDMI. Now, while googling Dolby Atmos, I discovered a couple of things. First of all, Dolby Atmos doesn't support Toslink, which, to be fair, I was surprised because I was imagining that it has enough bandwidth to support this. So, only way you can take advantage of Dolby Atmos certification on the soundbar is via HDMI. Obviously, you're not going to get that via Bluetooth, and you're not going to get that via 3.4mm jack. So, if I really want to take advantage of that 7.1 surround, I'm left with one option, which is HDMI. And to me, as a projector owner, not a TV owner, I actually don't have a TV, well, I'm stuck in a bit of a pickle, because that means extra cables. Cables that I have to drag from one side of the room to another. And that's not the end of my worries, because probably you and many others, you do own a smart TV, and you can take advantage of random apps installed on your TV, play YouTube, Netflix, etc. directly from the TV. And here comes a problem. Even if your content is Dolby Atmos certified, you won't be able to output it in any meaningful ways unless your TV supports HDMI output. It means that if you actually want to play something that is Dolby certified, you have to go through a speaker first and then to your display output, and that can get slightly annoying. But let's not get ahead of myself, because we have sounds to test, and you probably want to know how they sound because, well, let's face it, they are speakers. And I started with the humble 3.5mm jack and stereo because that was the easiest to connect to my projector. I actually have like 5-meter cable that I drag every single time all the way from the front where the speakers are to where the projector is located. At some point, I promise I'm going to embed that in the wall, hide the wires and make it nice. But now, it's not the time. So after plugging it in and playing some random videos on YouTube, I have to say that I was pretty impressed. First of all, I'm going to start with the sound quality. It's loud enough to get you impressed, especially considering the size of all speakers. Thanks to rather big subwoofer, the low end of the frequency spectrum is quite impressive and punchy. And I think the fact that I have 4 separate speakers, the trebles don't drawn into the mids, and I was enjoying it despite just only having it played in stereo. If you look at the associated remote, there is plenty of different options to equalize the sound and adjust it to your preference, and let's face it, I'm not an audiophile, and if you are, you're probably not looking at the devices in that price range either, so it's gonna be down to your preference of how you would like to receive that audio. Now, if you're stuck like me, whether it's a Bluetooth audio, 3.5mm jack, or Toslink without Dolby Atmos support, you probably want to make your sound as good as possible. And there are some options, including the channel mixer and some clever processing that kind of try to fake the surround sound using only stereo channels. And to be fair, it works pretty well. I watched a couple of films and I wasn't disappointed. In fact, it did change the way I received the audio. Previously, I was using just a soundbar plus a subwoofer setup, and I could definitely tell the difference. But now the sound sounds a little bit richer, and I'm happy with this. But to give it a proper justification, I really needed to whip out my trusty laptop, bring it in downstairs, and run a lot of cables to test the actual Dolby Atmos and see if I can even tell the difference. Now, while that's going to be messy because you'll have to run the audio interface via HDMI from my laptop and then figure out how I want to project it, I'm just going to focus on the audio quality. I found a couple of demos online and I was ready to be impressed, but honestly that didn't quite happen. And I have a theory behind it why. While I was listening to music or some video Dolby Atmos demos, it sounded really nice even in the stereo options, which means that included sound processing was good enough to imitate higher-end audio settings, but the true value of the Atmos demo was apparent to me when I ran the game demo, showcasing how cool the sound can be. And yes, I could tell when the explosions were happening just behind me and when the bullets were whizzing past my head. That was another story. So to summarize it, not so impressive jump from stereo to Dolby Atmos setup wasn't because the Dolby Atmos setup was poor, but the actual processing on the stereo end done within the speaker itself was pretty good. And I don't think you're gonna be disappointed with that. And there's one more thing I should address, which is Bluetooth. I mentioned that Poseidon D80 Boom uses Bluetooth 5.3, and usually, or most of the soundbars that I've actually tested, the Bluetooth thing comes with typical Bluetooth latency, making it unusable for watching videos because of the delay between the video and the audio. So I decided to test that as well. I've connected my projector via Bluetooth to the speakers, and you've guessed it, it actually works well. This low latency connection is available in the gaming modes on the headsets, but usually it's not present on the subwoofer, so I was positively surprised that I can actually remove my 3.5mm jack and still enjoy sync-up audio in my setup. That means I no longer have to drag the cable across, and I'm super happy with it. Honestly, other than Atmos-related troubles, I can't really say anything bad about the Poseidon D80 unit. It's inexpensive because you can pick it up for just over £200, making it one of the cheapest surround sounds that you can buy right now. And honestly, considering its size and its price, it sounds so much better than I would expect. And if you fancy turning your boring living room into an exciting cinema room, then you can pair it with Ultimea Nova C40 projector and have it done on a really tight budget, something I'd recommend. So big thanks to Ultimea for sending me a kit so I could take a look and improve my cinema experience. Honestly, it's so much more fun to watch Spider-Man now. And big thanks to you for watching. And as usual, I do not have a posting schedule. You know how YouTube works. I'm not going to explain you all this, but there is a couple of links included in the description of this video, so be sure to check them out. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.